Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. What am I trying to say? Scary place? Let's go with scary place for the weekly weird news. And this is the privacy section. We'll be looking at several privacy news. So if you are concerned with your privacy, consider a VPN. Of course, I am an advocate that you do not always need a VPN. It kind of depends on your circumstances and your settings. But if you are in need of a VPN, consider Nord. My affiliate link is on the screen and it will be in the comments or in the description down below. tlm.li/Nord. NordVPN, you can connect up to 6 devices simultaneously. You can set it up on a router and on all of your different devices. And with this, you can actually get 3 years of it. You are billed $107 now, and then you get 3 years of access to their system with the servers all around the world. So with that, let's jump on into our privacy news. Let's go ahead and start with Facebook because, Facebook's got to be in every privacy news because they're just gone crazy. They've just gone so totally crazy. One of the founders, we're not talking about them in the news today, but one of the early founders, his roommate when he was at Harvard, if you watch The Social Network, probably one of those guys throwing darts in the cup of beer or whatever, I don't know. He actually says it's so big and it should be broken up because Mark Zuckerberg let go of civility and ethics for clicks and money, is what he said. Well, this is interesting. Facebook labels posts by hand, posing privacy questions. In other words, they're hiring a bunch of people from a variety of different places. So, team of 260 contract workers in Hyderabad. Hydras are not bad. Anyway, India has plowed through millions of Facebook photos, status updates, and other content posted since 2014, marking it by hand to help train AI platforms. Is it food? Is it a selfie? Is it an animal? What's the occasion? I think the biggest fundamental problem with this, you're looking at the concept of looking at the EU Article 13, is this a joke or not? To outsource something like this for an American cultural posts to send out to a third world country, they don't always understand the context. Okay, I mean, how many times is it a stereotype of having an international person on a film? You mostly saw this 80s, 90s, maybe not as much now. But the international person wouldn't understand the context, the subtleties of language, couldn't spot what is a joke, what is not a joke, lacks cultural context is the overarching boundary. And so clearly some things, is this food, is this an animal, is this a selfie, is fairly easy. But if you're trying to categorize memes, trying to categorize statements, phrases, sentences, they may lack the cultural context to do it right. And this raises some issues on top of the fact that these people had real access to your posts since as early as 2014 to manually look things up. That is kind of creepy. So keep that in mind. So that's kind of what they've been doing for about the last 5 years. This is just yet the latest thing. Why? Why are people still on this platform? I just don't get it. I just don't get it indeed. Yes, I understand. The only place my mother will see my photos. Tell your mother to get something else. I bet you're the more technically savvy person anyway. Guide them somewhere else. Guide them somewhere else. All right. Of course, this is kind of funny. The FTC kind of agrees that Facebook needs punished. Now, the thing is that we have to understand is there was already an FTC privacy violation and an agreement and a fine back in 2011. So Facebook is still consistently violating. At what point in time does this country stop and go, you've done enough, you're dissolved? At what point in time can our country do that? So what's hilarious about this is we have the Democrats, we have the Republicans on the FTC chair. They all agree that there's penalty, and they're sitting there fighting over $3 to $5 billion fine. And the partisan divide, this is how divided Republicans and Democrats are right now. The divide is, one of them says, we want to punish them harshly, and the other one says, that's not harsh enough. I don't know. At the core of this is they're kind of in agreement, somewhere between $3 and $5 billion fine. Why don't you just make it like $7 trillion and pay off the national debt? Let's just go ahead and do that. Schmuckerberg can pay us some national debt bill off. Well, we just have him wipe out about half of it. That'd be good. He clearly doesn't care about the American people. Let's make him care. All right. But where they're divided right now is, should Zuckerberg be held personally liable? That's really where they're fighting and where they're arguing right now. Is Zuckerberg personally liable? That is the core question we're trying to get answered. So with that, what do you guys think? And that really is the split. The Republican and Democrat divide on this issue. Should Zuckerberg be personally liable, or should just this be a company thing? Let me know in the comments what you think about that. All right, now moving on to Amazon-y goodness. Don't forget, have a look at the up above. I do have an Amazon affiliate link, so disclosure on that. I use Amazon. Guys, it's so funny. I really, 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 really want to give local business a try. I'm just sick of trying to deal with them. I'm putting together a small off-grid solar system for some applications I'll talk about later. I'm like, hey, let's buy a battery from the local battery outlet. The unfortunate thing is the guy at the local battery outlet's not there during posted hours that he's supposed to be open. He'll put us on, be back in 15 minutes. And 35 minutes later, he comes meandering on in with a sub, and then he's rude to boot and isn't helpful and will not answer your questions. I'm like, you know what? Never mind. I literally was there with money in hand to buy a battery, and he was the most unhelpful person. So I left, turned around, bought it on Amazon, bought a better battery for less money, and it'll be here in a few days. That's okay. It's not like something that's critical has to be handled now. In fact, I really don't have time to handle it right now anyway. So I'm trying to give local business a try, but the unfortunate thing is every single time I go in and give a local business a try, they're going to order it. Well, I can order it, and I'm not giving you my address, and if you insist that we'll order it for you, and if you want to order it and I'll come pick it back up, I'm paying then, not now. Hand enough. And you're not getting any personal information. You order it and you tell me about when it's going to be here and I'll show up again that day. And that's about it. Let's do it that way. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. Well, then never mind. I'm buying from Amazon. But Amazon is scary. Amazon has been collecting too much data. Of course, Windows 10 is scary. Alexa, married with Windows 10, hands-free. That means that not only is Cortana always on listening to what you're saying, Amazon is always on listening to what you're saying. Everyone's on here. So now Amazon and Windows are both always listening, always tracking, always gathering all the data. And we know that they're gathering the data. Remember that police case where Alexa data was used as part of a determined was this guy murdered or not? They did that by collecting the data. And Amazon's we don't have the data. Amazon's like, we don't know if we want to give you this data. They eventually gave them the data. Yes, that Alexa was actually recording data without the wake word. That's right. So now this is something new inside of Windows 10 is that your Alexa app will now allow Alexa to operate hands-free as well. You used to be able to have to trigger a keyboard shortcut with it. So now Cortana will be listening, Alexa will be listening. Let's just go ahead and get Bixby, Google, let's just go ahead and Siri, let's throw them all on the same system so all of them can track everything that we're doing at all times and we can just become lazy people. Oh, it's so laborsome to push a keyboard on push a button on the keyboard. That's so hard. I'd rather have a hardware button to push for the thing to turn on. What do you guys think? But of course, EchoKidsPrivacy.com was put up, is a website that was put up to identify some issues with Echo Dot. So we talked about this a while back. We talked about Amazon releasing like a kids version of Echo. And back at that time, I'm like, yeah, this is not a good thing. Well, it turns out that this Echo for Kids device was actually still tracking stuff that they promised it wasn't. They are saying that it violates COPA, so you can read the complaint right here. So these are the warning signs that they had put out. Reviewing information is burdensome. Oh, you know what? Just erase that from the list. You know what? Being a good parent is burdensome. All right, let's not worry about that. Here's a thought, maybe as a parent, just don't get one of these for your kids. But anyway, no verifiable parental consent. That's possibly an issue. Keeping child personal information forever. This is where the line is going to split. Amazon insists you can get in there as the parent and delete it at any time. These guys, based on their research and studies, are finding that that's not actually the case. And here's the fun thing. It's like Google released that same thing. We talked about it last week on the news, where now Google, you can go in and you can actually set location data to automatically delete after 18 months, automatically delete after 3 months, or you can manually delete it. The question that I have is this deleted also from all of Google's backups? Because these companies don't have simply one server. They're mirror cloud backupped all over the place, and that probably includes offline ones. It's the same thing with deleting your Facebook account. If you guys remember, about 2 years ago maybe, Brian Lunduke deletes his Facebook account. He has contacts at Facebook, and he deleted the account, waited the 30 days, reached out to his friends. His friend said, yes, indeed it's deleted. And he asked this critical question, is it deleted from all backups? His friend says, we don't even have a way to test that. So is it really deleting the data when you delete it? Is Google really deleting the data when you delete it? Is Facebook deleting the data when you delete it? Or is it inside of layers and layers of geological cores of backups? Just probably where it is. It is very likely that while deleting, maybe actively deleting, but all that information is probably still in their servers. And that's the reason why I don't like this idea of you have control over your data. You don't have any control over your data because the company can take a copy and keep it in their backup archives forever, and you may not ever know about it. Three-way party mystery. Amazon does not disclose which kid skills, which are developed by third parties, collect child personal information. That is a big deal and would be a violation of COPA. Deleting child information is difficult. Inadequate notice. The Amazon's direct notice does not satisfy COPA's requirements as it's missing key piece of information. Its online notice is also unsatisfactory as it includes so much confusing and unrelated information. That's interesting. We'll be getting into that in our next article. The play date problem. Amazon does not give notice or obtain parental consent before recording the voices of children that do not live in the home. This is another big deal. So, little Bobby has an Amazon dot in his room because his parents are crazy. And little Sammy and little Johnny, we always have a Johnny, right? Little Johnny comes in. He's the next door neighbor, and little Johnny's parents are like, yeah, I don't want those things in my house. I don't want them perpetually recording what little Johnny says in his sleep. All right. And so little Johnny comes over there, and little Johnny's playing with who's his first kid? Bobby, I think. Bobby and Johnny are sitting there playing in his room. They're building some Legos. They're talking about stuff. They're telling jokes they shouldn't be telling and saying little things. And that Amazon dot's picking up information from little Johnny, even though little Johnny's parents did not consent to that data being collected. That is a huge issue. And misleading deletion representatives. I think we already talked about that. So this is going to be an interesting case to watch. What do you guys think? Let me know. Now, on to these confusing privacy policies. This is somewhat moving in a good direction, and terrifying. Google is releasing a device that is very much like Facebook's Portal. Now, this is not a single device necessarily. This is the entire Nest. Like Google Nest kind of died, but then the Nest Home is gonna, of course it means Nest. Oh, the Nest, the comfortable. It's so comfortable being at home. But this is a wide variety of things. Smart doorbells with cameras, the little camera things. They are working on a little device like Facebook's Portal. They have their smart speakers. So it all boils down into these four basic categories: cameras, microphones, home sensors, and Wi-Fi data. Okay, the four things you really don't want Google to have direct access to in your house that most of us give them anyway. So what they did here is this is actually kind of like a way to broaden and make the privacy policies easy. Now, it's still fairly long to read. Easier to read for sure, but still fairly long to read. And I don't know if this qualifies as their official policy or if this is just an easy to read version of the policy. They do actually have a separate privacy policy down here, which covers everything in the Google products, which again is going to be more legalese than you care about. However, that being said, what they're trying to do here is to comfort people with the amount of data and the ways they're collecting it. So when you go through and click on something, cameras serve a variety of purposes in the home, capturing memories, connecting with loved ones, helping you feel secure. I'm not really feeling secure with all this stuff. What about you? Devices like Nest Cam use video to help you keep an eye on your home and alert you when things happen, even when you're not there. For all your connected home devices, well, at least they're not learning that things happening when you are there. Whoa. For all of our devices, we commit to you. Your camera sends video footage to Google only if you or someone in your home has explicitly turned on the camera or enabled it. You can always turn the camera off. When your camera is turned on and sending video footage to Google, we will provide a clear visual indicator. Okay, when video footage is stored with your Google account, you can access, review, and delete the footage at any time. See the previous thing. Is it really being deleted or is it not? Is it just being deleted from you? Like Facebook. When you delete a post, it deletes from you. It's just tagged in their database as deleted. They can see it. You can't see it. Isn't that comforting? No video footage is stored with your Google account. You can, okay, there we did that one. We will only share video footage with third-party apps and services that work with our devices. That doesn't solve any problems, Google. That's the same problem everybody has. We only share it with third parties. Those third parties are everybody and anybody in the world, but nevertheless, at least we've disclosed that we're sharing it to third parties. All right. Now, one of the features that they had in here is they promise to always tell you what things are there, whether enabled. In fact, this is it. When our connected home devices include cameras, microphones, or environmental or activity sensors that detect information about your home environment, we'll list the hardware features in the device's technical specifications. You guys know why that's there, right? Because it was determined that somebody dissected one of them Nest thermostats and found out it had a microphone in there. What? Yeah, they did. So now we will commit to tell you when there's a microphone in there, even if that microphone is not turned on. I don't feel turry about having a thermostat with a microphone in it that may not be turned on, but they have the right, according to their terms and conditions and privacy policy, to force an update on that device at any time they want without your knowledge or consent. Kind of things. So does this privacy policy comfort you, or is this just like, yeah. What do you guys think? Good news. There is good news in the privacy world, people. There is good news in the privacy world. So this happened in New York City. A landlord came by and put a smart lock on. Oh, thank you, CNET, for pushing a big thing over my screen and blocking everything out. All right. So what they did is they came by and put a smart lock on there. And literally, how would you like to be renting for your apartment? And your landlord comes by and puts a smart lock on there and says, oh, you have to download this app from the Google Play Store to get into the house now. Yeah, first of all, I don't have Google Play app, so unless that's an open source application I can sideload with an APK, I ain't installing it, Bubba. So the tenants got together and sued them and said, hey, this lets them know. First, they said that the app for the smart lock could track their location data at all times. So the landlord always knew if they were home, if they weren't home. They could track them where they went, how much time they spent there. They also said that they could track the times they were coming in, going in and out of the apartment itself. A lot of issues. Well, it actually came down this week that a judge ordered the landlords of an apartment building in New York to provide physical keys to any tenants who do not want to use the smart locks. So this is a good win for privacy, that if you have one of these, at least in New York City, the judge has ordered that, yes, if you are renting a place, you have to be issued a physical key if you want one. Yeah, I won't be downloading any app on my device to, I mean, what if I want to go for a run and leave the phone at home? How am I getting in, you know? I mean, these are interesting questions. So this is a victory for privacy, but don't rest too nicely on your laurels. NBC News takes our feature article today. So this is the Ever app. Remember the Ever app? You know, there's really positive, friendly, oh, we are here to help you share your memories, free up your phone data. You upload photos to the Ever app, and then the company turned around and used those to develop facial recognition tools to sell to law enforcement, private companies, and the military. So they didn't necessarily sell your specific photos, they just sold the AI. So the Ever app, they marketed all these things. Gotta be careful of marketing. They marketed all these things as just being this wonderful, safe, and just beautiful and amazing application. It's just so wonderful. Upload all your photos to here. They turned around, they took this data, and by the way, it was in their privacy policy. Read those things, people. Read those things. I believe it was a change to their policy. So, according to the privacy policy, they were able to use the data that was uploaded, because nobody reads the things anyway. They used this to create a facial recognition software system, and then Ever took that system and sold the technology to private companies, to law enforcement, and to the military. So this is why you never want to do this. This is not the first company that did that. IBM scraped things off of Flickr and used it to train AI. There was another one, I'm forgetting what the other one was, that was using their photos for AI. Are you guys going to trust that your cloud, no matter what you're doing, is not using your photos to train AI or to share or do other stuff with? Now, I have a Nextcloud account that's on my own personal server hooked up. I know that's not doing anything funky, but even that, I don't back up all my data to that. I back up all my data to physical drives, and I keep copies of those drives in a bank vault, and I keep the other copy of those drives here, you know? That's kind of the thing that we need to be looking at, is just this entire idea of be careful what you're doing with your photos. Be careful what you're doing with the information that you have. Be careful with just pushing everything up. Be very weary of any of these apps that are seeking to make a better system. If you are needing to use a cloud service to upload your data, to back your data up on a cloud infrastructure, you make sure that system is completely encrypted in such a way that they can't even see what's in there. It's better if you're doing something like you take the files on your computer, you encrypt that on a local file, and you store the encrypted file on the drive. So if you wanted to do, for example, Google Drive, that's fine. You just don't sync your photos with your Google Cloud. You take your photos off in your computer, you put them in a zip archive or a file container of some form, you encrypt that file, and then you take that encrypted file and put that in the Google Cloud. If you're going to use a Google Cloud, do it that way. Way safer than you uploading and downloading the data to that or any other application, because you never know what these technocrats are using your data for. So just keep that in mind. What are your thoughts about this? Have you ever used the Ever app? Have you read the privacy policy? Did you know they were doing this? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thanks for coming along on this edition of the Weekly News Roundup. These are recorded live Friday, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can follow along and help the channel out by looking at the links up above me or in the description down below.